I want to thank everybody for coming here this morning to celebrate this monumentous event. I would like to, in addition to our speakers, acknowledge some of our guests that have joined us today. We have in attendance Director Karen Peters from Arizona Department of Environmental Quality. We also have Edward Chu, who's on leave for sabbatical with us at ASU and will return back to his post as Director of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for Region 7. Chris Mackey, Director of Community Economic Development, City of Phoenix. Felipe Moreno, Director of Public Works at City of Phoenix. Sherry Collins, Director of Solid Waste, City of Mesa, and Councilwoman Solange Whitehead from City of Scottsdale. This project is actually amazing, and I want to thank in the beginning my team, everybody that's here. It's almost hard not to get emotional, to be honest. Our team's been working on this for the last 10 years in the space of circular economy. It started with a partnership with the City of Phoenix and circular economy. 5 years into the Resource Innovation and Solutions Network project, we started to think really deeply about complex solutions and how do we create complex solutions for complex problems. We can no longer afford to solve for one challenge at a time, given the challenges we're facing as people on the planet. We started looking at understanding the social, economic, and environmental components of different challenges. Our plastics microfactory research, when it started 5 years ago, my colleague Raj Butch and Bill Campbell spent endless hours whiteboarding, interviewing, workshopping with partners around the US and the world. We had some amazing debates. Some of you might have been able to hear some of our debates from different parts of the valley. We were so loud. We started to ask ourselves, what if we were to reimagine the entire system? What are the leverage points that we need to target in order to change the system, to change the value chain and supply chains? What are the social challenges we're facing? Right now, 1 in 3 16 to 24-year-olds in Maricopa County are not working and not in school. How do we reimagine future workforce and job opportunities? How do we shift paradigms related to manufacturing? How do we create community wealth building opportunities that don't leave billions behind? What are the environmental challenges? Well, you're probably all glad that we didn't have this in July. Those challenges would be really obvious. Some of the contributors for the environmental challenges are related to greenhouse gas emissions. Global supply chains and logistics account for almost 10% of greenhouse gas emissions. What if we were to redesign how products are made, using waste or recycled materials, convert them back into raw materials and make new products? This could transform global supply chains. Sounds easy, right? My God, we were naive. To say this was hard was an understatement. We were faced with questions and doubts and smirks, but we continue to work and persevere. The Circular Living Lab was co-developed on ASU's campus in partnership with Zero Waste and Facilities. It was led by our colleague Tyler Eglin. We worked to utilize ASU as a living lab to realize the circular economy transition. It was then time to start building bridges out into the community and working with community partners. We started to ask ourselves, how do we engage with community? How do we rethink and reimagine what working alongside community looks like? Our colleagues Jen Clifton and Tim Ness brought their expertise into these areas. The City of Phoenix then became a partner. We awarded us a grant, and we continue to build partnerships with Goodwill of Central and Northern Arizona and Hustle Phoenix, who you hear from later. I won't steal their thunder. But ultimately, what if we were to reimagine and redesign the whole system with public, private, and community-based partners? What do you end up with? You end up with actually what's behind me. The first circular plastics microfactory in the world. 1 microfactory equals 10 jobs. Imagine 1 microfactory can process close to 1,000 tons a year. The goal is to have a decentralized network, maybe 10 of these in a region. 10 jobs, 10 microfactories equals 100 jobs, processing roughly 10,000 tons of material, starting with plastics, textiles, glass, metals, it's endless. Keeping jobs here, reducing our greenhouse gas footprint, reimagining community economic development in light of climate. How do we actualize a resilient future that is equitable, affordable, and creates a positive future for both people and the planet? Hope you enjoy the program. Congressman Stanton wasn't able to join us in person today, but he did provide us with a video and some words of encouragement. And throughout his career, Greg Stanton has worked tirelessly to deliver results to Arizona families. Serving as Phoenix mayor from 2012 to 2018, he focused on building an economy rooted in innovation and trade. Under his leadership, Phoenix created thousands of quality jobs and recently saw the highest wage growth in the nation. When Congressman Stanton was mayor of the city of Phoenix, he was a champion in supporting the city and ASU's collaboration in innovation and circular economy. Thank you, Greg Stanton.
Good morning, I'm Congressman Greg Stanton. What an exciting day it is for the city of Phoenix, Arizona State University, and the entire state of Arizona for this great announcement. When I served as mayor of the city of Phoenix, I was proud to work alongside then Councilmember Gallego, now the mayor of our great city, to build not just a more innovation-driven economy, but a more circular economy, one that preserves precious resources while creating new areas of job creation and great opportunities for our local business community. Through a partnership between the city's Reimagine program and Arizona State University, we created the Resource Innovation and Solutions Network, bringing together corporations, small businesses, manufacturers, and researchers to look for new and innovative ways to turn plastic, paper, glass, and other waste products into new products instead of sending them to the landfill. Now, I'm so excited to launch the world's first Circular Plastics Microfactory.
It cut off. So he could not be here in person, but he was definitely a pioneer in helping to support realizing these visions. Next, I would like to introduce and welcome our next speaker. So Mayor Kate Gallego is our next speaker, and Mayor Kate Gallego, working her way up to mayor from her time serving South Phoenix on the Phoenix City Council, Mayor Gallego has been laser focused on creating the Phoenix of the future, a sustainable, bustling city with ample high-wage jobs and opportunities for all. As a subject matter expert in sustainable growth and economic development, Mayor Gallego has helped to shape Phoenix into a global hub of medical research, bioscience innovation, and semiconductor manufacturing, while nurturing top-notch education landscapes and workforce pipelines. And she's done all that while working towards the ambitious goal of making Phoenix the most sustainable desert city in the world. Mayor Gallego is the second elected woman mayor in Phoenix history and one of the youngest big mayors in the United States. In November 2020, she was re-elected to a second term with the highest number of votes ever cast for a mayoral candidate in Phoenix. She graduated from Harvard and holds an MBA from the Wharton School of Business, but nonetheless, her favorite title is Mom to Michael. Please help me welcome this multifaceted, dynamic leader, Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego.
Thank you, Alicia. Welcome to the first remanufacturing microfactory. We are excited to make history today here in Phoenix. We have a sense that from Phoenix, this will go throughout the world, and it's exciting to be leading in innovation right now. I am so thankful to all of our partners, including ASU, Goodwill, and Hustle Phoenix, who are putting Phoenix on the map for the right reasons. We want to be the most sustainable desert city, and this is a very important step forward. I am dreaming of days where I can take my campaign signs and turn them into my next cell phone case. I have in my garage now a car seat that is plastic and cracked, and maybe it will become toys in the future for a kid in this community. It's really exciting to see what is possible when a great group of people come together with a mission to change the world. We would not be here out today without several great leaders. Greg Stanton really put the mark forward when he was mayor, and he had an incredible partner in John Trujillo. I so wish that John could be here with us today, but we are thinking of you, John. We are so lucky to have Goodwill of Central and Northern Arizona. Thank you to Tim and your entire team for the amazing commitment to sustainability. People drop things off at Goodwill, and you are committed to finding a way to move them forward, but this is maybe a new level of innovation. We think we have the best Goodwill in the country, and I think this is further proof. I have an amazing team at the City of Phoenix. Everyone here from Team Phoenix deserves a shout out, but I'll particularly say thank you to Felipe Moreno, Christine Mackey, and Amanda Jordan, and just all the work you are doing to make sure we are a leading circular economy hub. We have had delegations visit us from the European Union because they're excited to see what we are doing and that it is important on a global scale. And now we have a new showpiece to introduce to them. Our team at the City of Phoenix has long been ambitious on circular economy. We have set a goal of 50% diversion by 2030 and zero waste by 2050. Investments like this will make that ambition possible, and we are really excited to lead the way in that area. I want to thank our partner, Community and Economic Development, for really talking about how we can be leaders in creating sustainable jobs. When I first started volunteering with the city's Environmental Quality Commission, I went to the Economic Development Office and said, we really got to focus on jobs in the areas around sustainability. And at the time, that was a hard sell. But since Christine Mackey has been there, we have been leading the way and thinking really intentionally about the workforce behind it. With partners like Hustle Phoenix and Goodwill, we can help people get great jobs in sustainability. We know that young people are so motivated by trying to improve our world, and that will be very exciting. I have an undergrad environmental degree and an MBA in entrepreneurship, so I feel like this is my people right now. I'm excited to see what Hustle Phoenix and their entrepreneurs will do with the amazing feedstock that is coming out of this facility. The products that they will probably invent, I can't even imagine. Yes! Also, Hustle Phoenix is just a lot of fun, so we are really excited for the innovation. And again, Phoenix will be known for whatever great ideas come out of this facility, putting us on the global map for the right reasons. We'll continue to lead in this area. We're participating in national initiatives such as the US Plastic Pacts, and then we're going hyper-local like this facility. I understand we had visitors from California who already want to copy us, and I love the idea of California learning from Arizona on sustainability. I am very excited to be part of this team, and before I close my remarks, just wanted to thank Councilwoman Ansari, who has been my great partner on sustainability and also has a great love for entrepreneurship. So Councilwoman, thank you so much for your deep partnership, and Councilwoman Whitehead, another of our great regional collaborators who cares so deeply about moving us forward on sustainability. We have great elected officials in this area, and with great partners like the innovators at Arizona State, we are going to take this to the next level. So we'll welcome Raj up, speaking of those great innovators.
Thank you, Mayor Gallego. Just introduce myself. My name is Raj Butch. As Alicia said, this vision is 10 years old. We've been talking about it since 2013. And for the last 5 years, we've been trying to make it reality somewhere in the world. And guess what? It needed to be in our own backyard. So thanks to our amazing partners, the City of Phoenix, Goodwill, Hustle Phoenix, for helping us realize that vision. I'd like to introduce Councilwoman Yasmin Ansari. Councilwoman Ansari currently serves as the District 7 Councilwoman for Phoenix, Arizona, in Phoenix, Arizona. She's the youngest woman ever elected in Phoenix City Council history and the first Iranian American elected to public office in the state of Arizona. Thank you. Councilwoman Ansari represents one of the most diverse districts in the 5th largest and fastest growing city in the United States. Prior to serving in elected office, Councilwoman Ansari worked as a senior policy advisor on the climate action teams of both UN Secretaries General Ban Ki-moon and Antonio Guterres, as well as principal advisor to former UN climate chief Christiana Figueres at Mission 2020. She earned her bachelor's degree from Stanford University and her master's from the University of Cambridge. Please join me in welcoming Councilwoman Ansari.
Good morning, everyone. Wow, those are hard acts to follow, but I'm so honored to be with you here today. I'm Phoenix City Councilwoman Yasemin Ansari, and I represent District 7. So I'm so thrilled that this first of its kind innovation and circular plastics microfactory is located in District 7. As was mentioned, prior to my time in elected office, I served as a climate advisor at the United Nations, and much of my work for years was actually focused on working with cities and states and companies on their decarbonization policies and their sustainability work. And it's exactly this type of project that would have been considered a model and truly a breakthrough. And so I just really want everyone here to, I know everyone recognizes it, but I want to take a moment to really appreciate what a big deal this is and thank all of the partners who've worked for a decade to make it happen. So please give everyone a round of applause. That's why we have some amazing green energy champions in the room and green economy champions. Mayor Gallego has been spearheading our city and focused on this issue since she started as mayor and long before on council. We heard from Congressman Stanton, and I learned a little bit more about how he had this idea a decade ago, which also shows how long it takes sometimes to bring really big ideas and turn them into reality. And also a huge thank you to the partners that have been mentioned, but I'll say again, ASU, the City of Phoenix, Goodwill of Central and Northern Arizona, and Hustle Phoenix, who have embarked on this exciting journey, leading the sustainable breakthrough of localizing components along our plastic supply chain, generating revenue for Arizona-based businesses, establishing local markets, and creating green jobs along the way. At this microfactory, plastic waste is remanufactured on site into new products, from hangers to flat pack furniture, or even shin guards and skateboards, all right here at Goodwill's Retail Operations Center in District 7. That's truly, truly incredible. There's no doubt that plastic pollution is an enormous problem, not only here in Phoenix, but worldwide. We see plastic waste on our streets, in our waterways, and islands of plastic the size of Arizona in our oceans. It clogs our landfills with materials that will virtually never break down. And it's a problem that is very difficult to combat. Current recycling processes and solutions are large and very capital intensive, relying on widespread waste collection networks. And lack of guaranteed supply prevents investment and business attraction, and there are currently very few intermediate or end market producers here in the state of Arizona. At this 10,000 square foot facility, plastic waste presents an opportunity that will improve public well-being through entrepreneurship while also preventing valuable commodities from ending up in our landfill. Again, this is a huge, huge deal, not only for Phoenix, but hopefully one day the world. I'm so excited for our future. Phoenix is and will continue to be a leader in circular economy solutions, and I'm even more motivated to see our universities and local businesses, companies, residents engaged in these efforts. Over the coming year or two, we will be updating our climate action plan. We have a transportation electrification action plan. There's so much work that's going on at the city to make sure that we truly achieve the vision of being the most sustainable desert city in the world. So thank you to all for being a huge part of that. Thank you so much.
Our next guest speaker is going to be Dr. Peter Schlosser from ASU. Peter Schlosser is the Vice President and Vice Provost of Global Futures, the University Global Futures Professor, and leads the Julianne Wrigley Global Futures Laboratory at ASU. He holds joint appointments in the School of Sustainability, the School of Earth and Space Exploration, and the School of Sustainable Engineering and the Built Environment. His research focuses on the hydrosphere, primarily the circulation of water in the oceans and groundwater, including studies of problems caused by human impact. Prior to joining ASU, in January 2018, Dr. Schlosser spent 28 years at Columbia University, where he was the Morris Ewing and J. Lamar Wurtzel Professor of Geophysics and Chair of the Department of Earth and Environmental Engineering, Professor of Earth and Environmental Sciences, and the Deputy Director and Director of Research at the Earth Institute. He received his PhD in Environmental Physics from the University of Heidelberg in Germany. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Peter Slaughter.
Thank you, Raj. I think we have to shorten that bio. Good morning, everybody. On behalf of ASU's Julian Wrigley Global Futures Laboratory, it is my great pleasure to support the launch of the Circular Plastics Microfactory by the Rob and Melanie Walton Sustainability Solution Service. The Microfactory is an applied research project targeting, as you have heard, social, economic, and environmental justice for a more positive future of people and the life-supporting systems of our planet. It's dedicated to remanufacturing plastic waste to create functional, everyday items. So the Microfactory also helps curb greenhouse gas emissions by using a decentralized production model that reduces global supply chains and transportation logistics by focusing production on site. Given the prevalence of plastic pollution, the Microfactory exemplifies a real-world solution imagined, designed, and implemented to address real-world problems. So if we're looking at plastic pollutions, we can put that into the context of what we are doing to the planet as a whole. We are talking a lot about pressures such as climate, rightfully so. I think many of you remember the 31 consecutive days of high temperatures. But while we are focusing on that, we also should not forget that we are soaking our planet in chemicals. Now, a lot of chemicals, plastic being one that is emerging. But if I think back, when I grew up in Germany, I saw rivers on fire. You just had to throw a cigarette butt into it, and there was enough chemicals on it that you lit up a fire. Now, quite a bit of that has been controlled, but there are always new emerging kinds of contaminants that are going through the environment. And of course, plastics, one of these substances that are a great blessing, but also a curse. The blessing because they allow us to package stuff, to store it, to make things long-lasting. But at the same time, as we already have heard, they degrade very, very slowly. Almost, on very, very long time scales, chemically and biologically. So what really happens is that the way they disintegrate is by mechanical action. And that leads to these smaller and smaller particles. So microplastics is typically defined as particles that are smaller than 5 millimeters. That's still, what is that in inches? That's just a fraction of an inch, still very large. What really hits you, and all of you here have approximately 2 credit card worth of plastics in your body, is when they get really small. Because at that point, you find them everywhere. I work around the Arctic, Antarctica, in the oceans in general. You can find them everywhere. They are in the ocean water, in the food chain. You are eating them, you are ingesting them, you are drinking them, you are breathing them because they are in snow, they are in rain, they are in your food, they are everywhere. So that is, of course, one of the drivers of finding ways to reduce plastic in the environment and to make sure that the plastic that we are using is recycled. So this microfactory is, of course, a great accomplishment towards a world in which the plastic that we are using is in a circular domain. Just a few numbers. We already heard that if you go to any of the Pacific islands or any islands in the ocean, the pristine white beaches often are actually now littered with mountains of plastic because it is swimming on the surface of the ocean, and that's where it's accumulating. Every minute, the equivalent of nearly 2 trucks worth of plastic litter is dumped into the oceans. Not talking about what we are dumping on Earth, but of course the oceans are 70% of the surface of our Earth, so a lot of it goes in there. That totals about 19 to 23 million metric tons annually, and that is what directly impacts the entire marine ecosystem, including, for example, plankton, coral reefs, and whales. Approximately 32%, about 1/3, of plastic packaging escapes collection systems, and that further pollutes the environment, including oceans and clogging urban environments. Only 14% of plastic packaging is collected for recycling, with the recycling rate for all plastics, not just the packaging, being even lower. And these are just a few examples that speak to the increase of plastic pollution in our environment in general, and the negative impacts it bears on the health of the environment itself, plants, wildlife, oceans, but also people. And the Microfactory presents an opportunity to enhance the well-being of our communities by reducing the amount of plastic that ends up in our landfills by putting out new products. And Mayor Gallego already gave us some examples of how we can do that. So go through your garage and see what you have stored there that could be recycled. And so we will reduce the amount of plastic waste that ends up in the landfills, and instead we will repurpose it into circular solutions. The Circular Plastics Microfactory is part of the mission of the Global Futures Laboratory, which is to design options for sustaining global habitability and improving the well-being of all life on a healthy planet. After all, we don't want to simply reduce the option space for future generations. We want to leave a planet behind that leaves them options to shape their life according to their desires, not just taking care of the problems we left behind for them. Thank you.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Tyler Eglin. I'm part of the ASU Walton team. You'll hear a lot more of me later on the tour, but it's now my pleasure to introduce the leader of one of our partners, Chris Waddell. So Chris Waddell is the creative strategist and COO of Hustle Phoenix. Chris has been a leader at Hustle Phoenix since its inception alongside her husband, Oye. Hustle Phoenix exists to empower men and women in inner city and urban communities with the intellectual, social, and financial capital to start and grow businesses that glorify God and serve their neighbors. Chris is the embodiment of this mission through her work serving entrepreneurs in the Hustle Phoenix programs, by organizing stellar events that bring the community together, and through her innovative vision for supporting the Hustle team and their dreams and visions. She's also our local endless source of positive energy and hype, so let me now introduce to you Chris Waddell.
Good morning. I am so excited to be here today. We are excited about our partnerships with ASU, City of Phoenix, and Goodwill to create change and transform our city through providing opportunities for entrepreneurs for this manufacturing of plastics. Phoenix is the home to some of the most talented entrepreneurs and hustlers, visionary risk takers who seize the opportunity to move product and turn into profit. But as Mayor Gallego said, we need to have support, networks, and capital to help them grow and flourish. At Hustle Phoenix, we believe the difference between wealth and poverty is relationships. That's why we are excited about fostering quality relationships with different partners throughout the community. Hustle Phoenix likes to call ourselves super collaborators. We are providing opportunity that includes intellectual, social, and financial capital for marginalized community entrepreneurs. That's why we are so excited about this microfactory. The microfactory is the first of its kind in the world. I'm gonna say it again because that should be super excited that Phoenix is so innovative that we are creating the first of its kind in the world. These partnerships are so incredible and will provide opportunities to connect entrepreneurs to networks and to work with them to develop thriving businesses in the recycling industry. To bring a know-how on hands-on learning experiences of plastics, remanufacturing, and circular economy. We also will provide and incorporate creative element with possibilities for designing and making artful products, all while diverting tons of plastic each year and putting it to new use. We also are excited to build a community of circular economy innovators grounded in restorative entrepreneurship, with hustlers fulfilling their dreams and creating sustainable businesses for the common good. Our city and our community will change dramatically because of this groundbreaking microfactory, and we are all a part of it. Thank you so much.
Those are all tough acts to follow. This is our last and final speaker today, and I'd like to welcome our next guest. Tim O'Neill is the president and CEO of Goodwill of Central and Northern Arizona. Tim has led Goodwill's growth in Arizona for nearly 25 years. With a team of 6,000 staff and an annual budget approaching $350 million, he brings vision, innovation, and tireless commitment to making our communities stronger and more sustainable through Goodwill's retail operations and human services programs. Please welcome Tim O'Neill.
Good morning. So first, to all of Goodwill's and Thrive's Board of Directors, would you raise your hands, please? And the Goodwill or Thrive teams, raise your hands. I just want to say thank you. And before I get into thanking the partners, two people in the room need very special recognition. A gentleman that made this happen for us, Cesar Verduzco, say hello. Cesar's a great friend, and we were sitting having lunch one day, and he'd been on a tour. So when you see this facility here, what we call our ROC, our Retail Operations Center, this is the smallest building. The one right across the street is about probably 15 times the size of this, and I'll explain why we have this facility in just a bit. But we're sitting at lunch. Cesar had a chance to tour, and he said, "Oh my gosh, you need to talk to Alicia at ASU." And he made a phone call, and that phone call, I think the next day, within a short period of time, we were having a meeting talking about this property and this being the first plastic microfactory in the world. So thank you very much for that. And then Beth Forsberg. Where's Beth? She's tiny. So Beth is Goodwill's Senior Vice President of Sustainability, and all things recycling run through her. And it's her work, along with our great partners, that have made this happen. So to just thank in a row ASU, what a great group of people. Raj mentioned Reimagine Phoenix, and Goodwill was one of those partners, I think 11 years ago, and proud of it, very proud of it. And this idea that it came to this whole full circle of creating something brand new that's world changing out of Arizona is very meaningful to Goodwill, very meaningful to me. So ASU, City of Phoenix, Hustle Phoenix, just thank you for all the work that you've done, because I get to sit behind the scenes and hear all the great things that are happening while this team is the one that goes out and makes it really work. So to all of you, thank you very much. When you think about Goodwill, maybe you wonder why. Why is Goodwill a part of this? And so as you drove in today, you saw this facility that's about 400,000 square feet. You saw all those trailers, hundreds of trailers. What you don't see inside is a trash hauling company that's owned by Goodwill. You don't see that Goodwill receives 1 million items a day throughout Arizona, and we have so much more to do. When you think about recycling and the idea of thrift and the reuse of products, it wasn't always sexy. Alicia said 25 years with Goodwill, that's true. 25 years in about 3 weeks with Goodwill. But I've been doing this since I was 18 years old, so that's a lot more than 25 years. And I've seen it transform. If you think about what happens today, you heard the number that only about 14% of plastics are recycled. That goes through the entire solid waste stream. Clothing today, only 15% of it ever makes it into a reuse facility. 85% still goes in landfill. We have to do a better job of this, and this is the start to it. This facility at some point would like to house the plastics recycling. We'd like to see textile recycling. We'd like to see a circular idea around aluminums. And we'd like for Goodwill to be the place where you bring it all. Bring it all to us. And sitting with Alicia and talking to her, the idea, she said, we need you. Not for the facility, But when you get 1 million items a day donated, there's lots of feedstock to make something like this work, and that's the process of it. I was at a solid waste convention about probably 10 years ago, and I was speaking to the group, and the question was, why is Goodwill here? And so I asked, and these are large waste haulers, large recycling facilities from all over the United States. And I asked, how long have you been in business? And I said, raise your hand for 20 years, and most of the group raised their hands. And then 40 years, and a few less hands went up. And I got to like 80 years, and nobody's hand went up. Goodwill's been recycling for 122 years. We are the original recycler. We are the place that has innovated in ways that people don't think of innovation. And we do it all to help this community. So what you see behind us, this isn't just a way to help the environment. This is a way to give people jobs. This is a way to educate people on a brand new up-and-coming skill set. This is a way to generate revenue. And you heard Alicia mention that we're approaching 350 million. That makes us one of the largest not-for-profits in the world right here in Phoenix. We only generate that revenue to serve people. So what that means is when you bring your donations in, when you support a recycling center like this, you allow us to provide, last year, 500,000 free services to the people of Arizona. You did that by cleaning out your closets. But as I said, there's so much work to be done. When you think about recycling and the numbers I gave you about what actually still hits the landfill, it's a bigger issue than that. It's going to become a much bigger issue than that. Because there was just a Harvard Business Review article that said the average American has 4,517 pounds of reusable goods in their household. That equals out to something like 579 billion pounds of stuff that's going to hit this stream. It's either going to hit through thrift stores, it's going to hit through recycling facilities, it's going to move overseas, or it's going to hit landfill. What we need to do is figure out how to reuse those products. Now, that's not going to be popular. You're not going to have cotton companies, you're not going to have oil companies where these garments and things like that come from that don't like their idea of their inventories being hurt, but to save the environment, it's what we have to do. Think about that number, 579 billion pounds of goods that will hit this stream at some point in the next 20 years. And if we don't do things like this, if we're not the ones that take the lead on something like this, then all we have to look forward to is that going in the oceans, the landfills, and the ideas of chemical in our ground. It's true, it's real. And just be proud that you're a group that is innovative, that we live in a state where you have a great political system, whether you want to believe it or not. We are here and we think about these things. The people of this state, the politicians of this state from every level, they care, and they care about this beautiful landscape that we have. So thank you very much for being here. We are going to give you a tour shortly, and I just wanted to say one more time to our partners, Hustle Phoenix, ASU, City of Phoenix, just very well done. Thank you.
So this ends the first part of the program. I want to thank everybody for coming out and joining us. And the next portion, we are going to dive into a ribbon cutting and a full-blown tour. You'll be able to ask lots of questions and actually walk through the entire process. Before we do that, if everyone could look at the wall behind you. Do you see those stacks of plastic totes? Probably about 100 feet long, and they're probably another 20, 30 feet wide. Those are all plastic feedstock that Goodwill has been collecting for the microfactory. How long do you think it took to collect that amount of material? Someone said 1 year. 1 day. 4 weeks. But we had to actually stop collecting, and so we're preparing to start production. So frame of reference, as you dive into the tour on the other side, we've got feedstock already stacked. We have a container of Super Bowl signs, also in a container from last year, ready to process. And so I'd like to welcome our colleagues for the ribbon cutting portion of this. Mayor Kate Gallego, Councilwoman Ansari, Tim O'Neill, and Chris Waddell, please come up to the podium.